Hi everybody, it's me, Colleen McCrae-Katz, the Crafty and Cooking Mama. I have a great craft project for you today. We saw some crafts over the weekend at a craft show. My son-in-law asked me if I could make something for him that would be similar, but more to their taste. And he got some things together, and I really liked what he did. He just asked me to cut out some letters on my Cricut, and it came out great. So I'm making one for my dad for his birthday, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. I wanted to show you what I'm doing. First thing I did was I got this really nice frame at Michael's Crafts on a 40% off clearance. This is a nice like mahogany stain frame. Then I got some matting board, and I got mine in a nice hunter green because I'm doing it in an Irish theme. My dad's very proud of his Irish heritage, and I'm doing that for him. I used the cardboard insert to measure out and cut out my backing. Then I used my Cricut in the Gregory font, and I cut out the letters. Now these are 5-inch letters. These are 5-inch letters, and what I did was, with the 5-inch letters, I used the shadow to make a bold M and a bold C so that they stood out. And then I made my lowercase c in a 3.5 inch. That might be a 2.5 inch. I'm not sure, but you can play with those sizes. And that pretty much fills up this frame. Unfortunately, with the Cricut, they don't make anything that makes shamrocks. So I had to figure out how I was going to get some shamrocks onto my dad's little doodad here. So this is what I came up with. I cut out some 1-inch hearts, and I used 3 of those, and I cut out some 1-inch crescent moons, and we use those as the stem. And you know, I'm going to have to overlap these so that you don't see the top of that little crescent moon thing. But ta-da! A shamrock. Pretty good, right? And all I'm going to do to attach this onto the backing is double-sided tape. Simple as that. And I'm going to put it in the frame. So I'm going to mount everything, and I'm going to come back and show you what it all looks like when it's done. I'll be back in a couple minutes. This is my Cricut, and I'm going to show you how I make my letters. You need a cutting mat like this, and it's sticky, and it holds your paper in place. You need to cut your paper to the width of your cutting mat, and you place it down so that it adheres. And it's a little hard to get your letters off, but you can do it and it won't damage your paper. You'll see the arrow here. That's the side that you feed into the machine. These buttons tell you everything that you need to do. Now, one thing about the Cricut is this is removable, and each of these little cartridges comes with its own little touchpad cover, and it tells you which keys do what. Now, this little key here is the load paper. Now, one thing you do want to do is make sure it's lined up with this little fence here and it goes in straight. Otherwise, you can get in trouble. So you load your paper. This is your dial here that tells you what size your letters are. I'm going to choose my 5-inch letter, and I'm going to choose the letter S, and then I just push my cut button, and this little gadget does the rest. And it's pretty stinking amazing. And then you just push unload paper, and it's basically a die cut machine that cuts your letters and everything out perfectly. Pretty amazing, I think. So I'm going to put an S on the end, make my dad's last name plural for his family, because I have extra space on my little board, and so that's what I'm going to do with my S.
Oh, sorry.
come on over and I'll show you how I place my letters using my double-sided tape. It's really pretty simple. You see, I have the rest of the name down. And what I do is, if you can see this paper, I'm not sure if you can see on the camera, it has a shimmer to it. It's a pearlized paper. So that's the front of our paper. We reverse it. And what I do is, if it's not a wide enough space, then I fold my tape in half, put it there. I want to make sure that my little tiny end pieces are really adhered. You want the little tails to be secured because, I mean, once it's in the frame and the glass is holding it together, there shouldn't be a problem. But I really like to just make sure that everything, okay, that's too big of a piece of tape, so we're going to dispose of that. I just like to make sure that the little tail ends are secure and each of the little curves is secure, and that none of my tape is showing on the outside. And I try to keep my spaces even between my letters. And I don't know why, but for some reason these letters don't look the same size to me, but they are. They're all 5-inch letters. So that's that. Now I'm going to make one of my shamrocks and adhere it. Now, I'm a little bit crazy, so I made some that curve this way and some that curve the opposite way so that I could put them in certain corners of my picture. And this one happens to curve that way, so that has to go in a left-hand corner. I know. So we're going to put the little stem down first. And that had a little piece of double-sided tape on the back. And I would start with the middle heart or leaf, because I think that gives you the best placement for the rest of your shamrock. And you want to make sure there's a little bit of space there so people can see that stem. You know what? I don't like that. Luckily, this double-sided tape is somewhat movable. So I would say leave a little bit of a gap between your stem and your middle heart or leaf of your clover. And if you have any tape that overlaps the end of your items, just fold it back. That's a pretty good shamrock, I think. So I'm going to finish up my shamrocks and then we're going to put it in the frame. I'll be back in a couple minutes. Here's my finished product, and I think it came out pretty great. I'm really happy with the way my shamrocks came out. I think they're pretty cute. And I really think my dad is going to love this for his birthday. So I hope you try this. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like my tutorial. And thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.